Welcome, everyone, to Austin by Starlight, episode 23. Tonight we're going to be following Pax and Yvette, as it seems that Alistair and Lupe have other things to attend to tonight. And so, with these two young coterie members, these young kindred, these blood-sucking vampires, we will be finding out what more they have been up to lately. It's been about a week since the altercation with the sort of poltergeist creature that was menacing the construction site that was on the in progress looped highway. The construction having been halted previously because of, well, no official reason according to the city. But our coterie was able to successfully deal with this menace, but not without some severe injury to themselves. During this course of time, the pair have had a slight chance to do some healing, but it has been proving taxing. Yvette scrounging through her herd to keep herself from tipping over the edge when hunting, but Pax doesn't have such a luxury. Pax feeds on the blood of other kindred, and thus must be supplied with her needs, either by Don Hernandez or some other victim. And that is where we will be meeting our delightful pair. But first, I would like you both to make rouse checks. Even the sips from Dale are starting to become a little less satisfying over time. Maybe it's just the waking of your morning, or evening rather, is a little more taxing on your body than previously, nights before. It takes a little more effort to wake up from day sleep today, for both of you. And so, you both come to the office of Don Hernandez in the mansion that he has acquired here in Austin. You stand at his door a little peckish, if not worse. And after a brief bit of catching up with the events of what happened at the construction site, we join the scene in media res. Thank you very much for that report, Pax.
You're very welcome, boss. It was an interesting event, to say the least.
And
Now, sorry.
you seem to come out the worse for wear.
Well, it was necessary.
How are you tonight?
Hungry.
I can tell. We can address that. You had other things to report.
While we were dealing with the creature, we came across one of the Nosferatu. I was wondering, boss, What's our relationship with the nurse?
Cordial, for the most part. You see,
Cordial.
oftentimes in other cities it's the Nosferatu who deal in things such as black market, but, well, that isn't exactly the case here.
So, what do they tend to deal in here, boss?
Information, primarily in the goings on between Baron Santos and Baron Kane, and any kind of squabbles between the two that might be going on. Not that I personally care about their squabbles very much.
It was interesting when I was speaking with the Nosferatu. They mentioned that they tend to feel a little bit strangled, and they had concerns that that bridge building project is gonna cut off one of their entrances to the source. Maybe intentional.
I don't know that it was intentional, but the city will plan the roads that they will when it comes to highway building. I don't have a direct hand in city planning.
I was wondering if there's maybe some kind of assistance we might be able to offer.
Assistance.
Perhaps some kind of employment.
I don't trust Nosferatu, to put it bluntly.
ST,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to end up rolling a insight check to his earlier statement of him having no involvement with the sealing of the entrance for the Nosferatu.
Okay. Make me a wits and insight.
Huh?
Yeah. He's a little hard to read. He's good at being hard to read.
At least we have something in common.
Well,
Boss,
mm-hmm.
the distrust for kindred, I thought that was just a general thing.
It is in general.
But Nosferatu in particular.
When one can remove themselves from sight from both kindred and mortal, it's impossible to know where they are, when they are. And thus, the protections that I have, you see, can never be too careful.
Sounds like that could make them rather useful then.
Based on the conversation that we had been politely invited to, my young Pax, the Nosferatu have more interest in spreading from San Antonio to here. As you are aware, I'm building bridges already.
Yes, boss.
Doesn't mean I have to trust De La Rosa or any other Nosferatu for that reason, for that matter. It's all business.
Yes.
If there is something that I am aware of that I could do for someone, I must request payment.
Very well. So the idea of employment.
I don't have any idea what the standing of the Nosferatu and their loyalties to either Baron, what that would mean for us. And so I keep them at arm's length.
What if I could
Find out.
where their loyalties lie?
I suppose if that assists you in some sort of way.
It's always good to have friends in the Nosferatu, don't you think?
I tend to have enough friends already. And just
More
as many,
friends.
if not more, enemies.
Some more friends doesn't hurt. More friends means less.
I'm old enough to know that friendship in and amongst kindred is fleeting. One moment they'll have your back, the next moment they'll stab it.
Some mutual beneficiary then.
If we can be of mutual benefit, then possibly, yes. But
Then we have some friends.
I am not an altruist. I'm a pragmatist.
Of course, boss. Did you have anything else for us to do?
No, not currently. You are free to do as you will. For the time being, I have no need of your assistance at the moment.
Very well. In which case, we'll see ourselves there.
Did you not want to address your hunger issue?
If you're offering, boss, I won't turn it down.
It is the whole reason that I set up supply chains through San Antonio.
Of course.
Miss LaCroix, if you would please excuse us.
At your will. Yeah, Don Hernandez. Yvette turns on heel and escorts herself out to the door, waiting on the other side of it closed.
How bad is it, Pax?
Well, I'm not gonna go into a never-ending sleep, but I'm certainly hungry. It's hard to ignore.
Do I have to worry about you ravaging my arm from its socket?
No, boss.
Good. And so he kind of rolls up his sleeve, having taken off his jacket, because he usually wears a sort of casual suit. He takes off the jacket topper of it. He rolls up his button-down shirt sleeve, and he sits you in a chair where he then bites into his wrist, and you could smell that sort of blackish void of a scent that his blood has. And he waits for you to open your mouth, and then he sort of kind of looks like he clenches his fist to kind of force the vitae to drip out of the wounds and down into your mouth. Now, what hunger level are you at? 3?
She's at 3.
Okay. And so he provides you with up to 2. Do you take that much?
Yes, please.
Okay. So he gives you two hunger worth of vitae. You hear sort of a low growl coming from behind your head, and then he takes his arm and licks the wound closed, pulls down his shirt sleeve and buttons it back up, and then kind of straightens up his shirt and puts his jacket back on.
Thank you, boss.
To yourself out.
Of course. Have a wonderful evening.
He gives you a nod and allows you to leave.
She steps out.
Yvette will end up following suit behind Pax's right-hand side.
Pax is quiet until they're entirely outside of the boss's reach, outside of the ears of any of those that work for him. You know how at at the bridge, Pax talks.
You are referring to the Nosferatu?
No, the ghost,
Ah, oui.
the one that Hernandez.
She simply nods and listens to Pax politely.
I think that was Hernandez Senior, Boss Hernandez's father. He supposedly went to Mexico and didn't come back.
And yet his spectre ends up remaining here, lost to the void.
Yeah. He said that he was buried in the graveyard nearby Basilica. At the very least, I'd like to go and pay my respects.
Very well. Then we shall end up doing so. If only to end up putting yourself at ease.
She nods. But she can't help the little voice in the back of her head that if Don Hernandez would do that to his own father, what would stop him from doing that to her? Just doing away with her, saying that she went off to Mexico. Especially after that growl that she heard. She is, after all, a burden on him.
Well, And I suppose the drive to the basilica and the graveyard next to it is a quiet one. As you drive, it's not terribly far. the the graveyard is pretty ordinary. You see some headstones that have some rather ornate carvings into them. You do see some that have versions of the Virgin Mary uh, kind of propped on top of it. You see others that are a little bit more of the common type, where it's sort of a flat sort of stone placing on laying flat on the ground. Others stood upright in the sort of old fashioned that have the sort of rounded tops on them sometimes too. It's a mix of different styles, but all of them nonetheless very beautifully kept. Some of them have fresh flower arrangements on them. Others have some that have long decayed, and but the grass is well kept and green for the most part. It's it's very much not like the wild grasses that you see out in the city sometimes that are sort of a little a little crunchy to the feel, at least in summertime as well. But this yard is very well kept, well watered, and is purposefully uniform in in its uh, in its appearance. But it's a very nice sight at night. It's very quiet here. If you're looking,
As Paris steps out, I would like to use aspects since the unseen.
okay, you see, much like you would expect in the um, in the start of your search through here, you see figments, little wisps, the usual thing that you've come to expect about a graveyard. That a lot of what's here is faded. That peering just against the veil to sense the unseen, it's it's a lot of little things. There's not a whole lot of an emotional presence here in this place.
Can I see any sign of Antonio Hernandez?
Not currently.
She's gonna start looking around the graveyard, seeing if she can't find a headstone or something that might give away where he was buried.
Okay. Go ahead and make me a wits and investigation.
Yvette will assist in this, of course.
Okay.
Oh, actually, cannot. I do not have a dot in investigation.
Oh no. Well, she's trying anyway.
Oh my god. I'm willpowering.
Okay. Since you have no successes.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Still no successes. No success at all.
Oh
That's
no.
critical failure too.
Oh, it is, yeah. So that's a compulsion, my friend. Let's see
Yeah.
what kind of compulsion you're under. Let's see if this story writes
I mean, I did
itself.
re-roll both.
You
You need
re-rolled
at
both,
least
but
one
there's a
success.
you need at least one success to avoid a critical failure.
Oh right, okay.
Um, so and because there's a one in your hunger dice, That's what causes the critical failure and the
Fair.
compulsion. So, with a 9, I believe that is indeed hunger.
No, hunger is 1 through 3.
Oh, what is 9 then? Because I know that
9.
10 is clan.
Yeah. 1 second.
I don't have my book open, sadly.
You too?
Hey,
Caught flat-footed today.
a little bit.
Let's see here. Compulsions. 9, paranoia. Appropriate.
Oh, very appropriate.
Oh, what was it again? I'm sorry.
Paranoia.
Oh, yes. How fitting.
So on looking around, she can't see any headstone for Antonio Fernandez.
Or you see so many, it's so common of a name that there are so many headstones for Hernandez's in this particular place. It's hard to know which one's which. None of them even say Antonio, but who could even know?
It would be so easy to just pick a random grave. Just one that hasn't yet been.
All you would have to do is bury a slab of concrete.
Slab of concrete.
That'll keep whatever's inside from coming out.
ST, do I know how old Boss Hernandez is?
Um, you've guesstimated in the past that he's at least 50 years old, but you've never really put 2 and 2 together about how exactly old he is. He's never really divulged that kind of information. But if you want to try and put some clues together to see if perhaps he's clued you into how old he is, that will be a resolve plus intelligence, and that'll be at your -2 penalty. Right now, that's hard to concentrate on.
Oof.
You try to think about how old he is, and your mind, for some reason, just can't focus on that. You're too caught up in what the thoughts that you were having before, that growling you heard from him. Was he annoyed? Was he put off? Was he just hungry? Was he angry? Was he considering giving you concrete boots so that you'd go to the bottom of the river and are never heard from again? Or bury you in a grave somewhere, somehow? You're starting to question your loyalty to Don Hernandez. What is he capable of? What would he do? How old is he? How powerful is he? That he's
And if
making.
if he's an old kindred, what was his father?
And if he's making deals with older kindred still.
She brings her hand up to her head and she starts to kind of rub her temples as she's fighting off this sense of panic, this fear that's overcoming her. That little voice in the back of her head.
Mademoiselle Cosetta? Is
Yeah.
everything all right? You seem distracted?
I can't find him.
Mama. She looks around. Now, off chance, would there happen to be perhaps other grievers or a groundskeeper who works this time?
It's late enough in the night that there aren't any people walking the grounds except for yourselves. You do see that there is a sort of groundskeeper's shack at the edge of the grounds, but it looks like it might be closer to a tool shed than maybe an office space.
Well, only one way to find out. It's not like we're getting any further here. And Mademoiselle Cosetta seems to have. Her mind is elsewhere. I'm unsure as to what, but she has not made me aware of the circumstance. And I will not pry until told to do so. I proceed to start walking towards the shack, office, groundskeeper. Who knows? Wouldn't be the first time somebody has slept inside the groundskeeping shack. I proceed to come up to it and simply wrap my hand on the door, knocking to announce myself.
You knock on the door of this little shack. You see that the and just as you're going to knock on the door, you see that their exterior is the exterior is locked with a padlock.
I'll cry out.
It is put up against the actual church, which is rather enormous. It's a really grand sight to see. But if there's going to be anybody here, there might be somebody in the church.
I will make my way towards it. Certainly. It's best to end up being knowledgeable of, or find somebody knowledgeable about the grounds.
Pax will follow her around, kind of looking over her shoulder as she does.
Your mind is just overwhelmed with thoughts that nothing is safe. It's not safe here. Just sort of addled with that nagging feeling of unsafe. But following in Yvette's footsteps, you go up to the door of the basilica, and the doors are open. And you do see that in the sort of grand hall that it's opened up to, you do see that there are a couple of people in the pews, just doing some prayers. You do see that there is the occasional sister who's walking up and down the pews to make sure that everyone's okay. That just checking in with those who are here, and you do see and you are greeted by someone at the door as well as you're peering in. Good evening.
Bonnoir?
Evening.
Excusez-moi. I have come a long way to end up paying my respects. Unfortunately, I am a bit lost at this point, and I was hoping to end up discussing a location of a particular, well, She looks to the graveyard and then looks back suggestively. Unfortunately, I have not been given the appropriate plot to end up going, and it is getting dark out,
Oh,
so it
yes.
becomes difficult to see. And
Yes, it is. It definitely is getting harder to see out there right now. Um, as far as the plots go, I can see if I can look them up. Who are you looking for?
Yvette looks at Mademoiselle Cosetta for a moment, trying to not break into a sly smile, remaining with that calm, cool demeanor that she presents, and offers the name.
Antonio Hernandez. Well, there are several Antonio Hernandezes buried here. Um, do you have a date of birth or a date of death?
Do I have a date?
No.
It is, it is my, it is a great grandfather.
Great grandfather. So, so I'm not. I don't mean to take this. I don't mean to be
No,
rude.
no, it is understandable. Perhaps simply telling us where the others are, and we can find it appropriately for ourselves. I would hate to end up wasting your time further, as I feel I have grieved you already.
Oh, it's no trouble. And she points out the several. It's around 5 different plots, ranging from different years of dates of birth that are listed on the actual plots themselves. Um, one of which that may or may not pique your interest is rather old.
As soon as they are finished, I simply wait for them to step away and put everything back, and we'll end up making it a point to allow them to forget this conversation.
All right.
Taking hold of Mademoiselle Cosetta, we spirit ourselves away before they realize that they're standing, unsure why they're in the room.
Hmm. You whisk yourselves away back towards the graveyard. A couple of these plots are, range in age from the sort of Battle of the Alamo era all the way up to present day. Between these 5 plots that you see, all of which with just a first name Antonio and a last name Hernandez.
Now
Hex
that
is going to make her way over to the older of them. Still, of course, looking around with her. Sense the unseen.
And that's you walk up to this plot. It doesn't have any special kind of markings. It just has a nameplate, date of birth, date of death from the Battle of the Alamo, but specifically placed here. Maybe it's a site that was moved to this location, maybe out of respect for the family members of this person, because who knows, the pits of dead that that were uh, that most were probably forced into, you probably would have a piece of what was left in order to bury it somewhere at that time frame. But moving a burial plot from San Antonio to Austin might have been at the behest of maybe an estate holder of some kind. But you then feel a sort of chill up your spine. And when you turn, you see that apparition of Antonio Hernandez that you saw before. Sort of muted features, very wispy in appearance, very transparent. It's more like you're seeing energy than you're seeing an actual person.
You didn't disappear.
Well,
You walked into.
Sorry, what?
Never mind. This is you.
What's left of me?
What happened to you?
What do you think happened?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Yvette Pax just looks like she's talking to herself.
I am presuming. I am trying not to make a big deal of the fact that the Malkavian is speaking to themselves again. Honestly, it is. She was acting strange, and now she is talking to the air. While I am aware of some of the gifts of the children of Malka, I am still unsure as to when it is their gift or when it is that they may have become a liability. I simply here observe the situation until it requires my intervention. More specifically, if Pax suddenly begins attacking nuns or something of the like, which seems far more probable than her speaking to the ghost of Hernandez.
Likely to succumb to the madness. But Pax, you, in seeing this apparition, he kind of just looks at you. What do you want?
Jose Hernandez has adopted me. He told me that you died in Mexico, but if this is you, then you didn't die in Mexico.
Mademoiselle Cosetta, why, if this is what you claim, then why the deception?
Deception?
This is the grave of who it is you seek? Why would you end up believing that they were passed on in Mexico?
Because that's what Boss Hernandez said.
Why were you deceived? For
I
what
don't
point?
know. I don't know. I want to know.
If only there was someone you could ask to give you such insights.
Pax looks over towards the ghost again. What happened to you? You were so angry with him.
I am angry with him.
So what did he do?
Jose Maria Angel Hernandez killed me in cold blood. Family.
He murdered his own family.
Murdered his own father. And then had my bones dragged back to this place.
Do you know why he brought your bones here?
I've seen what he is now. A dabbler in witchcraft. Sold his soul to the devil.
How did he kill you?
And when you say that, you are struck with a vision. You are facing a younger Don Hernandez. In cowboy leathers. Pulled a revolver from a hip holster and quickly shoots all 6 rounds into your chest. And you're brought back to reality. Darkness. It's dark here. This is not safe.
As she snaps back, she's grasping at her chest, looking for the bullet wounds.
And you don't find any.
He shot you. Filled you full of lead.
Back in Mexico City.
In Mexico City. He was dressed in cowboy leathers.
Plenty of cowboys back then.
Why'd he do it?
Control of the family. So that's my best guess.
The family.
Didn't like the way I was doing things. Didn't like the way that I ran things. And so he did what all good Hernandez kids do. You shoot him.
You shot family.
For nothing more than the illegal cattle ring. And the dope. And everything else. It's turned it into a slaughterhouse. And yet he lives. A vile thing. And he won't let me rest in peace.
What do you
Trapped.
mean?
I'm trapped here.
How?
I don't know. Some foul thing that he's done. I can't leave. Some kind of sick, tormentress hell that he's built for me here.
So you're stuck.
But I won't let go until he is ruined. No God-fearing child of mine should ever dabble in the dead.
As he says that, she brings a hand up to the necklace around her neck, the silver cross, and she kind of grasps it. Dabbling in the dead. God fearing. You still believe in God even after all this?
Only God can save me now. If he'll even have me.
I don't think God cares about any of us.
Do you
But
have no hope? Has he taken that away from you too?
he didn't do that. My own daddy did. Your son was the one that gave me hope. But I'll look into why you're stuck. See if I can't find some way to let you leave.
Even if I could, I wouldn't. He has to pay. He has to pay. And then this apparition just continues to get louder and louder, and it's sort of overwhelming your senses right now with the repeated he must pay, he must pay.
Enough! Enough!
And in that moment, it's as if he just kind of disappears from view. And silence takes the graveyard again.
Pax sits down in front of the gravestone. Looks it over. Boss Hernandez shot his own father 6 times in the chest in Mexico in order to gain control of a cattle ranch. He shot his own family, Yvette.
And your mind starts to swim again. What if he does it to you?
It is not inconceivable. Would he to do such a thing? From what I know of the man, certainly.
He looked younger. I think he was human when he did it.
You saw this in one of your visions just now?
Yeah,
Oh, Freya. Ah, let us for a moment say that I believe you. What now?
what's to stop him from doing that to me?
Very little?
But he wouldn't do that, right? He wouldn't do that.
He would.
Oscar, go ahead.
She actually speaks out loud. She says he would.
You are willing to stake your existence upon it?
What else can I do?
I can only offer you options if you meant that question. I will
I
Concrete
follow
don't
the
know.
boots,
protocol that you
concrete
offer.
coffin.
I don't know what I meant. Yvette, my head's not all here.
Yvette sits on her heels to meet the eyes of Mademoiselle Cosetta. Looks her over. Mademoiselle, you have always remained in a precarious predicament. Your loyalty to Boss Hernandez, the Don, is that of blood. And it is difficult. I understand this more than most. Inside you feel ways of them. But at this moment, thought horrifies you because you wish to run to him and say it's not true. I don't believe it. Not Hernandez. Even when it could be right in front of you. You ask what it is you can do. I can only give so much. But it must be a decision you made. All I can be is here for when you fall, as I have promised to do. You are in my charge. And so I end up with watching over you, even when it is not to my convenience or wishes. There is only one who I have ever placed above the needs of this coterie, and that is because of them being the Baron. My oath is to the Baron, but you are in his domain, and so I do so the same. I am not here to end up going against Boss Hernandez unless he, in his methods, directly or indirectly, threaten Baron Kane. But we are coterie, and so I shall serve that function. If it is what you want.
Coterie is serving a function.
Oui?
Sure. I think. I don't think. I don't know, Yvette.
Then I will tell you the truth. It is not a matter of would he, but when will he. If you are truly immortal, if you believe that, then all things are simply time. You feel obligation to him, to which I understand. More than most, I understand. But ultimately, you must ask why. When you
The
are. Go ahead.
the Antonio Hernandez. He said he can't escape. That he's locked here. But even if he could escape, he wouldn't.
Because he has no place to go?
Because he wants to see Don Hernandez fall.
What is it that you want, Mademoiselle Cosetta?
Pax, your mind is filled with a lot of the things that you do for Don Hernandez from time to time, like getting rid of bodies, torturing, different things. Your mind starts to get a little creative with it. A body bag full of cement, with you at its center, torpid. You'd do that to somebody that you didn't like. Don Hernandez might do that to somebody he didn't like. Has he done it to someone he's never liked?
No, he'd get me to do it instead.
Pulling off
Do
fingers.
all. Cutting off the fingers of people that mean the most to me. My own fingers.
What would he do to Maurice?
Julian,
And Julian? What would he do to them if he's trying to make a point?
he'd do anything that was necessary. I think it's difficult. It's like my head's in a cloud. Uh, what do I want? is not a question I've ever been posed.
I am posing it now.
And I don't think I can answer it.
Or are you afraid to answer it?
It's simply that I don't know. I can't remember a time where I've ever,
Knew anything else?
yeah,
I can't imagine. She smiles softly.
I guess in a way, similar to what you went through, huh?
This is a road I am well traveled upon, which has led me to you.
Some people would call that fate.
Call it what you will. I broke away from the Camarilla, gave up my history, my name, everything that would make me, as I knew, me. For a simple chance to end up having something that is solely my own. And those scars I carry to this day. I have seen you undead. I have seen you terrified. I have seen you in overwhelming confusion. And yet, still, there has always been one certainty. You will always crawl back to Hernandez. It is to me as certain as gravity, because to you there is nothing else to be done.
But I kept knowing about this from him.
But you will.
Yeah,
The option before you, well, you cannot wait for Don Hernandez to give you permission to be you and to make your own decisions. It is something that he cannot give. You are a part of his strength. He needs you, and he needs you on a tight leash.
he needs me until he doesn't.
In which case, he will make another.
He didn't.
Is that not why we're standing here? She looks to the grave.
He simply picked up a piece of garbage that nobody else wanted.
Perhaps.
I need to. I think I need to get out of here.
At your behest, then. Let us get you to the car. She stands up and extends a hand to assist Mademoiselle Cosetta.
Pax will take it. She's having so much trouble concentrating. Her head is just everywhere.
Perhaps I should drive.
Be my guest.
She extends her hand, accepting the keys.
Pax
Walks,
just drops them in.
walks to the back of the vehicle and opens up the rear door for Mademoiselle Cosetta as though it were a limousine.
There's no question, no argument. Climbs in. Her eyes are glazed over. She's looking. It's almost like she's in another world.
Yvette will get in the driver's seat and begin to drive. She's taken the long route about it, giving Mademoiselle Cosetta some time. But the destination is the same, the last to the safe haven that Mademoiselle Cosetta once offered to Yvette.
Yes, because safe haven is exactly what Pax feels as she needs right now. Is there trust? Is there anyone to trust? Is Don Hernandez right in that you can't trust any kindred? Or does Yvette somehow... does Yvette not fall under that category for some reason? But at least coming back to this place, Bex, you feel safer. You know all of the nooks and crannies. You know every inch of this place up and down. You know where to hide should you need it. You know to where to escape if you need it. No one can best you here.
This is home or as close to it as it can get. She makes her way inside and she takes a seat on the couch. Grabs a blanket off the back of it and just wraps herself up in a ball.
Yvette stands at the doorway, observes Mademoiselle Cosetta for a moment, looks at the place. Mademoiselle Cosetta, I will end up being outside the door should you require me.
That would look weird, Yvette.
But I am sure that my presence is not doing you any favors at this moment.
She could be in on it. She could be another one of Don Hernandez's ways of controlling me.
She unwraps herself and she starts moving around the apartment, checking every nook and cranny, looking for bugs or anything that could be technologically linked.
You find nothing.
And what she can. I think I just need to be. I just need to be right now.
Very well. I will be close by.
I'll give you a buzz if I need you.
Yvette closes the door, being sure it is locked. Starts to walk out to the apartment building. She looks around the site and takes up perch in a place not far off. Remains able to end up seeing the window of Mademoiselle Cosetta's apartment, her vehicle, but not a part of the immediate fixture. Perhaps she grabs an old newspaper or flyers, trying to occupy her time as she waits. Reality is, she is trying to provide what security she can, when in reality that the Mademoiselle Cosetta Pax is she is unstable. Questioning loyalty, this is the worst part of the blood bond. The harder you fight, the more it harms. And there is a small part that Yvette will admit. What would Yvette do if given the reins? This blood leech, this near diablerist who drinks of the amaranth to feed. Dangerous. It is a way to end up offering control, yes, but in time this situation would happen in turn. And then what would Yvette have to do? She thinks of all the things that Mademoiselle Cosetta knows of her, the ways that wrath could be turned upon her. And then stops. Her mind goes to Hernandez. How the Don has been not doing so well. Ousting the Nosferatu of their own power base to cripple them. Now accusations that he is responsible for squeezing them out. That is interesting. The Giovanni, the Hecata are finding ways to end up putting themselves into trade, trying to remove their competition. Her mind whirls with thoughts of what that must mean, and what it is she might be able to do. But that may only come in time.
And it could be that Pax was specifically created this way. Her feeding off of other kindred. Has she ever tried any other way? Has he fed her this whole time? Only way to know is to ask. After about an hour of settling into your apartment once again, Pax, you feel a wave of calm slowly but surely creep over you. And as you calm down, what are some things that linger in your mind? Pax?
For her, it's a question: what does she have to lose and what does she have to gain? Makes it easier. Break it down into black and white instead of shades of gray. with Don Hernandez. She's got a regular source of. She's got protection. She's got a home. She's got a life. She has friends and family and things that she never had when it was just her and her father. Breaking away from that, and it leaves her with a mess. It would mean having to put people at risk, people that she cares about. It would be, where would she even go? What would she even do? If she went ahead and tried to escape Don Hernandez, the fallout just wouldn't be worth it.
Escape.
Does she really even need to escape?
It's interesting that you would choose to use that word in general. You kind of think to yourself, if
Either
there
way,
truly was nothing to escape from, there would be no need to escape.
but it just leaves me open. Boss Hernandez bosses and bosses in terms of blood. But I work for him. I pick up the slack where need be, and I make myself useful. You've had talking in my ear, added to the doubts and the words in my head. What does she have to gain in all this?
Only way to know is to ask.
But asking is a dangerous game.
Always is.
Separating me from Don Hernandez. Well, she's the only other one I've been feeding on. And she's tethered to the Baron Kane.
Would the rest of them have my back? You think to yourself as well.
It's doubtful. I mean, they've all been so breakable. Like a thin eggshell. Slightest pressure and it just falls apart. I'm better off with the Dawn.
Better the
She gets
cage you
up.
know than the world you don't.
At least the cage I know. I know it. She gets up and she makes her way out. She doesn't know where she's going or what she's doing, but Sitting around ain't gonna do anything for anyone.
Yvette, you're keeping an eye on the door to see whether or not when she comes out, yes.
We.
So you would see that she's getting ready to leave the apartment. Locking up the door as she's ready.
She proceeds to end up putting aside the paper and begins to pick up her case, walks towards her vehicle. Seeing as that she still has the keys, it will be started and ready for when she arrives.
In Pax, you arrive at the vehicle and find that Yvette is in the driver's seat. The car is started, and she is holding the door open for you.
Thank you.
Of
And
course,
thanks
Ambassador.
for bringing me home. Sorry you had to deal with that.
It is of no consequence.
Well, now that my respects have been paid, is there anything else you want to do tonight?
What I want to do. Now, that is an odd question.
I have nothing else in mind.
I'm sure. But if you must know, I feel it is a good time to get in contact with Mademoiselle Jewel. But
Yes,
before then, I must make a stop.
lead the way.
I believe that is where we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, Yvette will make her pit stop and potentially get in contact with the young Jewel, the one Nosferatu that they've been in contact with that at least lives in the Austin city area. So, we'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to Austin by Starlight, episode 23. Where we left off, Pax and Yvette had gone off from Pax's little haven after she had taken a moment to collect herself. The two stop into the city for a moment to buy a little something. But after doing so, have contacted the young Nosferatu woman named Jewel. Now, her true age, one possibly could never know, but she's small, sort of about the height of someone who is, adulthood, maybe 5'6", 5'7". She, however, has lost all of her hair, and her skin resembles that of cracked ground. But nonetheless, she stands in somewhat tattered hoodie and jeans in front of you, Yvette, and gives you a big grin with her sort of spiny Nosferatu teeth. Hello.
Bonsoir, Mademoiselle Jewel. I am glad to have seen that you have arrived. It is good to see you again since the unfortunate incident.
Yes, it is good to see you again, too. It's always nice to see you.
Well, I hope you do not find this presumptuous, but he places that rather large bag that she's carrying in her other hand between them and takes a step back.
What's this?
I had to guess the size. I hope that it is suitable.
She kind of goes over to the bag and picks it up and hangs it open a little bit. So she pulls out a couple of pieces of tissue paper and then pulls out the... How would you describe this dress? What color is it?
I believe it would be probably something spring yellow. Something that is more of a sundress than anything else. A little bit casual, but given Mademoiselle Jules' love of arriving in the Bentley, and her condition does not allow her to enjoy the finer things in life, it is a small token. At the very least, it is something I can do for them.
Wow. This new? She looks at it, and there's still a tag kind of hanging off of it. You mean to tell me that you found this at an actual store?
I did not want to end up presuming much, but I did say that I would do what I could to end up giving you certain amenities. At the very least, I imagine that since your condition, the opportunity has not presented itself, even in the small things that keep us human. It was important that I would end up getting such things to you.
Oh, it's so pretty. I'm so worried I'd ruin it.
Impossible.
I mean, I'm not exactly topside all the time.
Perhaps. But you should not be denied at least the chance to do so. What we must do in secret is understandable. But I find a certain humility to remind myself. Some of us are blessed. And I only hope to end up offering that same to you. I fear that recent events have ended up causing the Nosferatu of Austin such distress.
Yeah, it's not exactly easy.
Certainement. So I hope, if only in the small things, to make it a little bit more bearable.
I'm just waiting for the bot.
That would require some patience. I'm sure it will come around, perhaps in a few years, 100 years, who knows? But at this point, it has not even crossed the horizon line. I was told that the difficulty that you have experienced, not only with an entrance to your, what is the word?
The tunnels?
Oui, merci. Since that moment, things have gotten more difficult to a already near untenable circumstance.
Well, if they start construction back up again, then, that particular perimeter highway might, make things a little bit more difficult to reach the surface in some places. We'll have to build new tunnels, and that could take decades.
Perhaps? Is there anything I can do?
Well, I guess not, I suppose. With things kind of getting back to normal, quote unquote, as they were, with the construction team, things are.
We adapt
Well,
to what the kind do.
we do.
Is
Have
it
to.
true of the Ventru as it is of the Nosferatu? But I am not blind to that plight. And with you struggling to find place, especially given the arrangement I would have to presume you have with Don Hernandez, things must be difficult indeed. He mentioned at some point that he has taken over many of the influences that would traditionally be held by the Nosferatu, and you have done an amicable job trying to find your way outside of what one would expect.
Well, when every small timer that you speak to has some kind of connection to a Hakata on top, it's it goes without saying that climbing the ladder is a little one-sided.
I understand this.
Especially because they don't like Baron Kane, and most of us are more in court with Baron Kane than we are with Baron Santos, as she tends to be more favored towards the gangrel or the ministry.
I understand this asks much of you at this point, but what what would how would they end up being able to assist Nosferatu in their time of plight?
Well, the hardest thing to do right now is get around the city without somebody jumping down our throats.
Who's giving you the most difficulty?
Hikata and Baron Santos. Baron Santos thinks of us as Camarilla.
I might understand that plight better than most.
As I think Baron Kane does too. Though he despises even anyone. Baron Kane despises anybody even accusing him of being Camarilla. Though Baron Santos doesn't hide the fact that she thinks that that's the truth.
If I might,
Hmm?
I think in terms of the
You're cutting out again.
I said, I think at the very least it comes from a sense of distrust. Perhaps there's a way to patch that up.
How do you patch up a sense of distrust with somebody who won't even look at you
That's a fair point.
when you've really done nothing wrong?
Mademoiselle Jewel, I need you to understand the words of what I speak. And I will hope you take them to heart. I see you.
She kind of just watches your eyes for a moment. Okay.
I do not have much at this time.
Neither
But
do we.
I have shown loyalty to Baron Kane. And I have made it a point to make it very clear on that token. And you are, as the Nosferatu, are guests of the domain of Cain. They should be received as such. This is a small token to you, who has at least heard the words of I. Now, when it comes to your own dealings, perhaps, if I may be some bold, I might offer a small opportunity that may, in fact, elevate one such as yourself and of your ilk in this city.
I think I could be persuaded.
If that is of interest to you.
It is. Because being known for information keeping and brokering, isn't the only thing we're good at.
Certainement. I am trying to end up putting some roots in this city. I intend to be here for some time. And because of that, wish to end up being on terms with the Nosferatu most agreeable. If we are to be accused of being Camarilla, at the very least, then let us play our traditional roles. One above, one below, as we are now.
If they're gonna think it, kind of play it up, huh?
Let them believe what they will. We know Austin is a city that belongs to the Anarchs, a free state. And while they are busy squabbling and trying to end up near saying, look, there it is, the camp, the capes, the mongrels who have come across, we will build the jewel. We will do what they cannot. And show them the strength and hidden... She stops. We will allow them to taste the greatest secret never known of the Nosferatu. She thinks back to a conversation she had with another Nosferatu some time ago. A man who came with the air and graces and the dignity as one would expect of a Ventru. Monsieur Douglas, the air and graces of a Nosferatu, their greatest secret. Or perhaps that is simply how the Ventru would flatter. But maybe it's more important at this moment that even if it is, that it is to be believed. Point of aspiration.
Well, I thank you for this. I definitely look forward to working with you and your coterie more.
I will do what I can. And if something comes to mind that you require, Mademoiselle Jewel, or the other Nosferatu, even in an unofficial capacity, I hope at the very least you will stop by for tea.
I'll definitely do that.
She bows her head graciously. I action that if by some miracle Mademoiselle Jewel understands of the Camarilla, that's no small thing coming from a Ventru.
One has to wonder. Maybe she does know the gravity of the situation. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe just the niceties is kind of the important thing that she's looking forward to. Or maybe, just maybe, there's a lot more to this woman than you might realize. It's hard to know with a relationship so young.
Yvette will make her exit.
Jewel takes the bag and happily walks along with it. You could see she's still carrying it in the bag because she doesn't want it to get ruined before she has a chance to try it on for the first time. But you can't help but see that she's still grinning with those needle-like teeth. A small bit of happiness on a Nosferatu's face may be the reward of itself.
That was a very kind thing you did. Yvette.
Was it? I can never tell.
Nosferatu are ugly on the surface, but it's only on the surface.
Were you to end up saying that to my sire, he would laugh you out of the building. No, they have an advantage of that many lack. They are on the outside as they are on the inside, as we are on the inside. It means those moments of light become all the more precious. What did you see in that meeting?
Quite a bit of gratitude, but at the same time, wariness.
They hate you, you know that, right?
I'm certain of it.
If it were not for Baron Kane and your position known at the Dawn side, if the Dawn were to ever lose his own influence on this city, I have no doubt that they would drag you screaming into the sewers and dismember you just to work out some aggression.
Yeah.
That is why it was important that you be here tonight.
Puts me under your protection, huh?
It gives them room for doubt. Doubt is as much as a spear as it is a shield. It is the very essence of masquerade.
Indeed.
So tell me, when will you choose to stop crushing the Nosferatu under heel?
What do you mean by that?
The Nosferatu go where few should be seen. They do what should not be seen. Now it is Hernandez that does so. And they cannot do a single thing without running into knowing that it is Hernandez's name that they will eventually hear. And you enforce his law. You enforce his will. That's why they hate you. When they see you, they see Hernandez.
In which case, I don't know when.
I told you I would protect you, Mademoiselle Cosetta. And I like to believe I am very good at my job. She walks to the car door and opens up the back door for Mademoiselle Cosetta.
Pax climbs in.
After closing the door and going into the driver's seat, she begins to start up the vehicle. Takes a moment before going anywhere. The North are to have their reasons for being resentful. But that is not what will bind us all. Perhaps in time, such things will grow. This small gesture with little more than a bag with a dress, a few words, is a seed. A seed that we may never see the results of before our first 100 years. I am an incredibly patient woman, Mademoiselle Cosetta.
Patient. Well, at least that makes one of us.
If you are so impatient, what are you waiting for?
I'm waiting for my own head.
As if
That's
it
all it
belonged,
is.
As if what, Yvette?
as if it belonged to you.
That's the problem, isn't it? It doesn't.
She starts the drive. She continues to end up going about. Driving towards a bar. One that is familiar to both Mademoiselle Cosetta and Yvette. The one that they've had their eye upon. No doubt that Lupe has already ended up making their inroads. At this point, Yvette parks the vehicle and observes the building. Mademoiselle Cosetta has the gift of foresight to understand events that were and may be, see visions that none others can. But for a clan that has visions, so few of them have vision. And that's something Yvette's sire once told her. And as she thinks on those words of Jacques, she looks at this watering hole, smiling a small amount. I am going to go feed Mademoiselle Cosetta.
Would you like assistance?
No, I'm simply going to make sure that you are fully fed.
Well, in which case, I better set about healing my wounds.
Preferably.
Um,
Go ahead.
Pax is actually going to use the blood to heal.
Aggravated damage? Yep, 3 rouse checks,
Yeah.
please. Ugh, it's grueling. But forcing the tissue to mend itself takes a lot of effort. It makes you hungry. That little growl in the back of your head that you heard from Don Hernandez starts to creep into your own vocals a little bit. And you you begin to realize that maybe you're thinking a little bit on the fact that his blood tastes like the void. It certainly was pretty empty as far as how long it lasted today.
Certainly was.
There and gone in what seemed like a heartbeat in the course of a kindred's lifespan.
Blink of an eye. Didn't even last a full night.
Not at all. But you have 1 point of aggravated damage healed.
And it would probably be visible to Yvette. She looks a bit more solid. Places where things weren't quite right now seem a bit more full and functional.
What about that finger you had removed?
Oh, it's still missing. I'm leaving that for the last aggravated.
Okay. Just thought I'd ask. So, Pax, you are healed, but a bit hungrier for it. And Yvette, you are going into the bar to acquire yourself a snack. How are you going about doing that? Yvette?
Yvette will make it a point to go out and hunt.
Yes, how are you going about doing that?
At this exact moment, she's going to try and end up interacting, a laugh, a pull out to the, perhaps find a date, somebody to drive them to the abode, and then, well, before they can drive off, before they can even start the ignition, feed on them in the vehicle.
Okay. Then that will be a charisma subterfuge. And if you have seduction specialty, you can use it too. Ooh. High or low?
Aye.
Ugh. It is pretty bad. The taste of it is just all sorts of off. This is, while you may have, bumped shoulders with this person in this bar once before, you've not interacted with them enough to really have some kind of influence into their life, and so the flavor is just all sorts of weird. It hits your palate just in the wrong way. It's just it's hard to keep down, so it is going to take the willpower to keep it down. But
to resist every moment, to not hurl it up, but I will arouse the blood to heal.
Okay.
That heals 1. That heals 2. That heals 3. That is all my health still, and means I only need to take 1 from him.
Very nice.
Surprising. Although I do lose my resonance at this point.
Yep. Let's find out what the new one will be. Let's see.
Not that strong.
Yeah, it's not really strong at all. It has a It has a slight twinge, but it's so faint that it's even hard to make out. But strangely satisfying, as disgusting as it is. It definitely counts for a full belly in a sort of kindred way.
Closest we can get without murder.
Exactly. So
I lick the wound, trying to remain somewhat composed as I let the individual forget the evening and arrest his head. I'm even polite enough to remove the keys and toss them on the passenger side. Hopefully he doesn't drive home. As I make my way back to the vehicle, I close the door in the rear, with Pax to end up sitting beside her. She can see it plain as day, Yvette, as that look as though she is about to be sick. Choking down. It's almost like somebody trying to consume their own sick.
That bad, huh?
She presses her head against the headrest of the driver's side. After some hacking and choking, she bites into her own wrist. Maybe even using her own blood as a
something to get that taste out of your mouth. Ugh.
chaser.
You'd rather taste ash.
For she extends the arm. She doesn't even draw her pistol. She just extends her arm towards Pax.
And Pax will take it.
And how much are you taking from Yvette?
Just one.
Yvette feels the blood, her vitae, coursing into Pax, and then after a moment, the euphoria that comes with the kiss looks towards Pax. Mademoiselle Pax, more, do not be stingy. I'd rather not waste the hunt.
Fine. She takes another dot. And then licks the wound clean.
Something about the euphoria of the kiss and that sort of rush of instinct that comes with your vitae being drawn away from you, that's altogether yours. Somehow the combination, you could understand how this could be addicting. It is addicting. Find yourself, you'll sort of like that thrill.
Yvette will pull her sleeve back down after cleaning the wound, being sure to leave no traces. She just rests her head back for a moment. Combination of being sick and the aftermath of the kiss. She just closes her eyes and leans back as deep as she can to this as much as this vehicle will allow her.
The thrill of your gun being put away where it should be. The euphoria of the kiss itself. The rush. The instinct to pull away. but denying it so.
Pax will actually reach up and grab Yvette by the shoulder and pull her down so that she's laying in Pax's lap with her hand rested on Yvette's head.
Yvette certainly seems confused at this moment.
Let your gut settle.
I wish that was how it worked.
Well, it gives you a moment to keep yourself together. Was it really that bad?
Try and imagine what it's like to consume powdered glass. That's what it is for me to feed.
I can slightly taste the three blood. Bit of a weird flavor.
Very few have the luxury of feeding upon the bloodline of LaCroix. I am amongst those who would consume kindred vitae. I imagine it would be quite a delicacy.
I won't deny. Seems like every house of kindred has a different flavor. That flavor changes slightly depending on what they've eaten.
Or who?
That's true. Akata tastes like ink. You taste like strength, like stalwart wall.
Like you could do anything. Stand up to anyone.
Bottomless strength. And the Nosferatu. I don't even know how to explain how they taste.
I would not know. I only know the blood of one kindred. Never considered to compare. I remember it. The taste, the sensation, as though this was the only thing to make you whole, for the world to be right with itself. That you understood that the planet would not fall off its axis and be sputtered into the abyss.
Flavor of Avantry.
Pardon, she tries to get up.
Pax just keeps her hand on her head.
Mademoiselle, I appreciate your concern, but I prefer to end up sitting.
Very well.
There's more dignity in that. She tries to sit up. It's very
Pax
clear. For what you do, you are at least a sentimental woman, given your vocation.
I'm sentimental towards what matters to me. And then at the same time, it helps when you understand. You can't drag information out of someone without being able to put yourself in their own shoes, be able to empathize in a way.
I have no doubt you have dreams of putting me on your table.
The dreams of putting everybody on my table.
Now I don't feel so unique.
But I don't think I'd be able to put you on my table.
I'd like to insight check that.
Okay. Pax, are you being truthful?
Absolutely.
You'd never be able to put her on your torture table or otherwise?
She doesn't think she'd be able to.
Okay. Then charisma persuasion. She seems honest.
If that were the case, I hope Don Hernandez never ends up giving you that order.
I hope so as well. Already had to put one person that mattered to me on my table.
Pardon?
There was a incident, and I ended up putting somebody. Well, she holds up her hand where the missing finger is, and she just. It explains itself. People that end up on my table or in my chair should deserve to be there. Some people just don't. I don't think you deserve it.
Who is it that claims dominion over my soul to judge if I am to be on your table? I have murdered in cold blood, not only to feed, but to do what I must. To preserve Masquerade, to ensure the remains of those around me continue. I am even involved in watching a man murder his own father.
Don't forget, I was the one that was there for that.
I was not. I was there having to smile as I knew the results before the first die was cast,
Yvette,
smiling towards his mother and his sister, offering them.
I was the one that turned around to him and said, if you want, I can revive him. Because he wasn't that far gone. And I accepted his no. I'm the one that decides who deserves to be on my table. It's one of the few things I decide.
If that were true, you would still have your entire hand.
He didn't deserve it, but at the same time, he did.
By your judgment.
Yeah, it was up to no good.
You are no good.
He was up to no good that was going to get him in shit, me in shit, and everybody he knew in shit.
And so removed you
A
removed a
finger.
part of him.
A finger.
A finger, a toe, an eye, some teeth. It makes little difference to me, Mademoiselle Cosetta. It simply is.
And
But
I deserved it too, so I took mine off.
how cruel.
Yeah, so
It must be easier to end up saying, look, I have done unto you as I would have done unto myself. It allows you to, in some way, justify the action. Curiosity. And yet, pardon, I can still taste that. Ugh. I am simply aware when Don Hernandez calls for me to be on your table, you will do so. And you will do unto me things that cannot be undone. But I would never ask you to do them unto yourself.
you wouldn't have to.
The fact you would disgusts me.
Why is that?
Because it's against my wishes. Even if I were to tell you to not do so, for me to bear that situation, it would tell me that you have learned nothing from me, and that I have failed you in that regard. I think that would wound me more deeply than anything you can do with a knife.
Then don't end up on my table.
That's up to Don Hernandez, not me. Not
It's
you.
always up to you. It's always up to everybody.
No. When it is, we will be having a very different conversation. Until then, all I can do is offer you a place to be once you have slipped the leash. That choice you must make. I will never force that upon you, even though it is within my capability.
How do you slip the leash, Yvette?
Time, patience. You push yourself, you push your blood, you require more of it, and so you continue to go back. Every night, I end up saying that I am your hand, that I will do so you do not. Means that you no longer need to feed as frequently, to give you time to clear your head, to recover your head, to grant a small amount of distance. I had to put an entire ocean between my sire and myself to be truly free. But it is time that manages it in truth. All I can do is give you the information and not open the door for you. I have done so since the beginning. As I said, I have always served Mademoiselle Cosetta faithfully. She opens the door and gets back into the driver's seat. She starts up the car. And I believe at this moment you would need to end up going to a place where you can consider it. A place that is more familiar than Haven. A place to truly call home. Starts to pull out of the parking lot. Driving Mademoiselle Cosetta to the Coterie Haven. Probably the only home away from home that Mademoiselle Pax never knew she had.
What's going through your head as you drive back to the Coterie house, Pax?
Doubt. Doubt myself. Just doubt in everything. Time is how she slips the leash. But that seems almost impossible when she can feel Don Hernandez, his hand on her shoulder, every moment of her existence. She doesn't even know if she wants to get away, to escape, to leave, to slip there. How does she know what she even wants anymore?
How indeed.
Is it and then there's that niggling feeling that Yvette gains more from this than she can see. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. What is home? What's family? What kindred can you trust, if any?
But perhaps, maybe it's that little niggling voice in the back of your mind that takes on the sort of voice of Yvette and simply says, try. See what happens. And I think that is where we're going to end the session for tonight. With Pax still contemplating over and over in her mind what is truly her decision and what truly isn't. Because even that's become muddier and muddier over the last weeks. And Yvette doing her best to try and show Pax how to be free, even though she's only been briefly free herself. Thank you both so much for playing tonight.
Thank you for hosting.
Yes, and I'm glad to be back.
It's so good. I've missed this game so much.
Yes, and I'm glad that my voice is actually in a good enough spot that I could actually carry as a narrator today. So I'm definitely. You have turkey baby. I love the baby. Can we get some cat butts or some cat hype in the chat for is that Malice?
That's Malice.
Malice BB. The baby. I love her.
Oh, she's flopped.
You floppy baby.
I want to flop. Okay.
Yeah. And she's totally okay with it.
Yeah, there we go. Now
Yep.
she's flopped.
Now she's flippy flop. Yep. On her back. Baby. Yes, so we're glad to be back. So thank you guys so much out in the audience for watching. With this being a little bit of a shorter session since the full coterie's not here, but we still almost made it to 4 hours, so we're good here. So we're gonna get some of the little things for end of session going. So if Black Wolf, if you're still around, if you can get the poll for these two lovely individuals as to who earned our audience favorite tonight, that would be fantastic. In the meantime, we have some experience to dole out and some willpower to recover if you fulfill desires today. Do we have stains?
Good question.
I don't see.
Yes. Never act against the family.
You haven't acted against the family in any way. You haven't done anything.
I suppose, but she also kept some shit from Don Hernandez intentionally.
Whether you consider that doing something or not, or just avoiding something, that is up to you.
I don't know.
I consider that just avoiding doing something.
Okay. I'll take that.
I'll save you from that stain today. But if you actively do something against your family, then yes, I would consider that stain-worthy. Whether Yvette counts as family yet, we'll have to find out.
Oh, she's family. The whole
You have-
coterie is.
When
You
she
have-
ends up on the table, won't we?
You have conflicting family here.
She does. She really does.
Very big
And it's
conflict
driving
of
her up the
family.
wall.
Yep. Because one does not act in the same vein as the other. But I don't see that. Did Black Wolf step away? Black Wolf, are you still here? Are you making a poll? Oh yes. If you could make a poll, please. But yes. We can move on to the regular sets of experience, though, for the coterie that we have before us today. So each of you gets one for showing up for the table today. Congratulations on a very wonderful Pax and Yvette story today. I loved it. So, between the two of you, you must decide who had moved our plot, who had the best scene, and who had the best line for tonight. So plot. How do we feel about the plot?
Oh, shit. I'm actually going to say Pax.
I won't argue.
Okay. There's no argument from our venture.
Yeah.
I will permit this.
We'll permit this. Yes.
It's
Yes.
like I can't put it any other way. It's because of going to that graveyard set up a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So, next up is who had the best scene? There was a lot of double scenes, but who really pulled it away when it came to the scenes tonight?
I'll give that to Pax with the ghost discussion.
I really don't know. I'll take it.
Okay.
Take
Pax
it
it
as
is.
I have commanded it to be.
You allow it and you command it. Two very different sentiments of intro.
I'll do what I'm told.
You do what you're told. Who had our best line out of tonight, though?
Oh, fuck. There were a few from Yvette. I just can't remember what they were. My brain is pulling a blank.
I want you to end up giving which Yvette line it was that got you. I got one in my own head.
I see Kitty one more time.
I'm pulling a blank. I can't remember what it was.
Would Pax say that was particularly good?
It wasn't really anything.
Because I'll say Yvette when Pax said I just gotta get my head on straight, and Yvette's immediate response is, "Who said it belonged to you?"
Yes. That was actually very pertinent.
Very poignant. Yep. That's a very poignant line. Pax's head does not belong to her. Her head is flooded with thoughts of Don Hernandez. What does he think? What is he gonna do? Even when she's paranoid.
You just can't escape it.
Nope. Nope. The only thing that can cure that is time. Sometimes distance helps in mitigating that time, but yes, time is the ultimate factor, as Yvette said. So, Yvette, I guess you're getting that line, and we're just waiting on the what the audience says about who they love today. Don't forget to vote and use your channel points towards that, everyone, because you know. It's eventually going to turn into a bidding war where it's going to turn into an eBay snipe. So we know this is going to happen. There's only a few minutes left on that. But, yeah.
So far, Yvette's in the lead.
So far, Yvette's in the lead. But it could change at any moment. This is Twitch chat, after all. But, yeah. Thank you guys very much for playing. I look forward to the rest of the coterie being able to rejoin us. And that sort of thing. So I'm excited for that.
Thank you for hosting, despite your voice still cutting out a little bit.
Well, it gets a little bit of the squeaky sort of, like, have to actually enunciate some of my words, because otherwise it just seems like a breathy nothingness. So that's been a little bit tougher to deal with, but you know, it's not like I don't stutter anyway, so.
Fair enough.
Yep, and there's some shenanigans starting. Yvette's pulling way ahead. So.
I'm thinking I might have to spend some experience this session.
Yeah, we've got. Did you want to spend any experience while we're live?
I'm just trying to figure out where I'm gonna put it.
You put it anywhere. Pretty much anywhere, my dear. Yeah.
I've got 17.
Bruh.
17. And
17 you haven't spent yet?
Yeah, 17 that I haven't spent.
Bruh.
I'm saving it up for.
What are you saving it for? Because at this point, you're are you blood potency 2?
Yes, I do believe so. Yes,
okay.
I am.
Yeah, you're more than halfway to blood potency 3 then.
That's a thing that you get
for blood leech.
For blood leech.
Blood leech.
Yep.
Especially because she is. Yeah.
Blackwell, thank you for spending 14,000 points. And on the occasion, I am going to put up a prediction when I feel like there might be the possibility of a basic feeding scene, which you guys can bet on with your channel points too. So I'm going to start including predictions as part of the Twitch chat too. And basic feeding scenes is kind of a good coin flip to bet on with the channel points. So we can work that into the story. We can work that into the Twitch chat. So we'll want to, organize that a little bit sometimes. But Black Wolf has commanded it. Yvette got the bonus experience. So
I don't think I've got enough XP to go up to 4 Auspex yet.
Auspex 4 requires 20 XP, yeah. You're 3 away. You're close.
Not quite there yet.
Very, very close. But you can
I am
always
determined to get to Auspex 5 with this character.
if you're going discipline heavy, then yeah, saving up is definitely kind of makes sense. If that's always an option there. I know that Yvette, Lupe, and Alistair kind of want to build up the rest of the themselves or the coterie domain or anything like this. Yeah, I'll definitely message you, Black Wolf, either in our DM, our mod chat on Discord or privately about implementing some predictions and things like that. So we can get some chat engagement going on. But yeah, that's something that I want to implement. But with experience out of the way, that means that we have more or less concluded this session for tonight. So, one thing that I want to personally do before we really get down to shilling for Derek here in a moment is I'm going to shill for myself a little bit for a second, because the month of February is our 4-year anniversary. However, I was sick and we missed it, so we're celebrating in March instead. So I'm going to be doing some extra streams, like art streams and things like that, on my additional days off that I get from work, because work has additional days off lately. So anytime that happens, you can expect an impromptu art stream, probably around 7 o'clock Central Time, or sooner if I decide I want to go live sooner. It just depends on what I'm feeling. But typically those are going to be art streams, and starting on the week of the 13th, I'm going to be giving away commission time, but I'm also going to do some giveaways for Twitch subs after the 13th once I get some extra money in. And so once we'll throw in the random raffle for Twitch subs. We'll throw in little things like that to kind of celebrate the 4-year anniversary of the channel. So, if the 2-hour commission is going to be raffled away and drawn the same night. So definitely have something in mind if you're wanting to enter the raffle, because I'm just going to do it as a bot raffle for those who are going to enter who are in chat. I'm not doing any kind of contest or anything because I don't have anything sent up like that. But yeah, during the art streams, we're gonna have random raffles for 2-hour commission giveaways. Probably one per night, unless somebody wants to sponsor a giveaway. That's something that you can do too. You can sponsor hours to give away. So that helps me be able to do more of that stuff and be able to, continue to get over being sick. So, yes, Black Wolf, try not to win them all. Try not to win them all, Black Wolf. But yeah, that's what I'm doing for the rest of this month to celebrate 4 years as an affiliate here on Twitch. And so definitely be on the lookout for announcements for Caffeine Fix, because those will probably happen on random days rather than on anything fixed. Yeah. So Derek, what are you doing this week and this month?
Well, we are also celebrating my 2-year anniversary, actually, of going full time on Twitch. It also ends up being that at this point we have new emotes, we have a new overlay, we have a new schedule that is going to be posted.
The new
I'm going to
emotes
be.
and the new overlay are so fucking hot.
I love it.
I love
it.
it.
We're also getting into, like, once I'm cleared out everything I'm doing between commissions, I'm hoping to end up focusing on either channel work or a project I'm currently referring to as Briarbrand, which is at this point still in its planning stages, so to speak.
A lot of concepting, yeah.
But at this point, I'm looking
Yes.
forward to end up seeing you guys follow along, as I'd like to end up taking a stab at seeing what we can do together as a channel.
Yeah.
Finding out more, you're going to have to hit that follow button and join us tomorrow at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time for our last stream of the week, Drawing on the Macabre. It's always a good one when it's Thursdays.
Yes, it's always a good one when it's Thursdays. And so, yeah, Derek is a great artist. Definitely done a recent channel revamp, and I'm loving every second of it. Because all of it is just chef's kiss. So, you know, we definitely love our venture prince over here. Or queen. You know,
Play.
Whichever works. But thank you guys so much for watching here with us at Austin by Starlight here at CoffeeCat Presents. Big shout out to those who nearly had a hype train going on today, but sadly, the subscription that came in from Thantos didn't make it in time for the train. Womp womp. But yeah, Black Wolf, Favorite Star, Thantos, thank you guys so much for the subs. They continue to help make this channel, because without it, I'd be out of pocket for everything. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and we shall see you guys tomorrow for Rebirth, the D&D tale, and Wednesday once again for Austin by Starlight, and hopefully in the foreseeable future and into perpetuity without breaking my voice again.
All right. Well, we're going to end up making sure CoffeeCat ends up getting back to bed before he wrecks his goddamn face. Thank you.
Well, let's find somebody to raid while we get going here. So good night, everybody, and we'll be back tomorrow for more here at CoffeeCat Presents.